Hello, I'm the Universal Critic. I talk about whatever I want, whenever I want, and just yesterday I saw The Hunger Games. Now, before I begin, let me get one thing straight. I'm a huge fan of the books. I've read The Hunger Games, I've read Catching Fire, and I'm only about halfway through Mockingjay, and I love them all. I love the world they create, I love the characters, I love everything about that. Of course, I was very hyped to see this movie, and what I saw, I love this movie. It's amazing. Yeah, of course, it doesn't incorporate everything from the book, otherwise it would have taken forever or would have been kind of a mess, but they incorporate a lot of stuff into the book, and the changes they make, I don't really mind, because sometimes they're improvements, and the ones that aren't improvements, I don't mind because they don't really make much difference. Okay, let's start off with the cast members. Jennifer Lawrence's Katniss Everdeen is amazing. Let me tell you, when I first heard about her, that she was going to play her, and that when I saw what she looked like, she's blue eyes, blonde hair, I was pretty skeptical, but then I saw from what I saw in the trailers, they didn't exactly help. She looked kind of bland, but then I saw her in the movie, and she was fantastic. She was fierce, she was strong, but she was also sympathetic. Those who've read the books or seen the movie know that she's a strong girl. She's a strong teenage girl, but she's still a person. She's not just this, and I like that she's not sassy, because frankly, sassy female characters get really annoying really fast. They're always, because basically sassy is code for bitchy, and Katniss is not that at all. She's noble, she's a martyr, she's very intelligent, but she's also still a person. She's still weighing over her head. She's being hunted to the death. Of course she's scared, but she still keeps her pain inside, and that's she's a very admirable character. Let's see who else. Josh Hutcherson as Peeta Mellark. He was pretty good too, though I must admit he didn't seem as strong as he did in the book. But he was still a strong character, and he still had the same interesting role. He still played a big part in the movie, and yeah, he was a good character too, but not as strong as the book, but still pretty good. Then you got Liam Hemsworth as Gale Hawthorne. He did pretty good, but the character, like in the book, didn't really do much in the first movie. It's not till the sequel that he really starts to matter to the story. He did well, but wasn't given much to do. What else do we have? Next we have Lenny Kravitz as Cinna, Katniss' stylist, and let me tell you, he does pretty well, though it's not the acting that I have mixed feelings about the character in the movie. It's not the acting. Lenny Kravitz is fantastic as Cinna. It's just the way the character is written that kind of gives me mixed feelings. In the book, I imagine Cinna is a very flamboyant character. In the movie, he's pretty masculine and pretty straight-faced. While he's done well, I kind of found that a little distracting. I just imagine him as a very flamboyant, femmy character, not a very serious person. Now, well, what can you do? He still does well, though. What else we got? We got Wes Bentley as Seneca Crane, the head game maker, and he did well. He did well, and the character has a very much bigger role than he did in the book, because I don't remember him in the book at all. The character, I don't think there was any mention of him until the sequel, Catching Fire. And the same thing goes for Donald Sutherland as President Snow, who again did not appear until the sequel, at least not as far as I remember. But him and Wes Bentley do well. What Seneca Crane sort of comes off as like this. He's like a reality show host or producer, whatever. He's like he's like the ultimate nightmarish version of a reality show host. That's a very good character. Like he's doing all these horrible things, but you can see that he's not doing it because he really wants to. He's doing it because he's being forced into it by President Snow. He's being manipulated by President Snow, and that's a pretty good character. And President Snow, he is just such a bastard in this movie. He's a treacherous-looking snake of a human being. He's just so nasty. It's hard not to like him. He's a great villain. And then we got Stanley Tucci as Caesar Flickerman, the host of The Hunger Games. Stanley Tucci does a great job. He seems like all happy and perky, but everything about him just seems fake. Like he seems like a character that's plastic and fake. Like he looks like someone who's had a lot of plastic surgery, and and that really shows off what the decadence of the capital is. He's a great character. Stanley Tucci does fantastic as awesome, and like I said, the character's really plastic, really fake, but that's why you like him. And then we got Elizabeth Banks as Effie Trinket, sort of like Stanley Tucci's character. She does well because her character again looks very plastic and very fake. Like she's wearing these absurd, over-the-top, colorful outfits, and it looks like she's had a lot of plastic surgery, wearing pounds of makeup. But she's still a likable character. She's materialistic and shallow, but she's still nice. She's not mean or anything. She's just kind of naive, I guess is the best word for her. And of course, like I said, both those characters, about what I like about the people in this movie, oh, never mind, I'll get to that in a second. The changes to the story I don't mind, like I said before, because half the time either they don't matter or they're improvements. Like, in the book there was this subplot about when Katniss gets injured, she loses her hearing in one of her ears, and it doesn't really matter to the story. In fact, it's completely cut out from the movie, and it makes no difference. In the book, she loses a part of her hearing, but at the end of the book, it's repaired, so yeah, what was the point? I guess it added some realism to the book, but again, if you're not going to do anything with it, why have it? But there are some other changes to the movie. I guess they kind of were to the movie's advantage. They added a few things in from the sequel, Catching Fire, like the uprisings and some scenes with President Snow, and they also made some new scenes. Like a large portion of the second half of the book was just shown from Katniss's point of view. Like she was in the arena for the Hunger Games, and she had no idea what was going on outside. They added some scenes back in the Capitol with like Caesar Flickerman commenting on the games, or like Seneca Crane manipulating the games. And there's also some really good scenes between Seneca Crane and President Snow, which shows just what a nasty manipulative relationship they have. But again, they're done very well, and they add to the story, and they help explain the story for the non-initiated, those who haven't read the books. Which, as I'm digressing here, but one of the things I was worried about when I saw the trailers for this movie is that they didn't explain it very well for the uninitiated. Like, a friend of mine asked me what the movie was about, because he said from what he saw in the trailers he didn't understand it, and I was a little worried about that. But the movie itself does explain it very well, and of course I don't think it'll matter if the trailers don't explain it, because like I said, the movie explains it, and the fan base for these books are just so huge that there's no way this movie could possibly fail, especially considering how good it is. Well, let's see. Let's talk about the visuals in this movie. The sets are great. I love District 12, just like in the book, is very poor, very run down, and then you go around and the people dressed are very glum and very depressed, and their clothes are very like ragged and very plain. And then you go to the Capitol, which everything is all is bright and shining and everything, and the people dress in these really ridiculous outfits and like to poke fun at high fashion and everything, and they try to make themselves look so glamorous that they're hideous. It's just great. The visuals are great. The costumes are great. The people really reflect what area of the Capitol they're in. And yeah, what area of the country they're in, and it's done really well. Now let's talk about some of the people who've been whining about this movie. Like, there's two. They've been comparing it to two movies. A movie called Battle Royale, which is like this Japanese film, which has a similar kind of concept, forcing children to fight in gladiatorial games. Well, let me go on one thing straight. I have never seen Battle Royale, and I don't care. I don't care at all. In fact, before the buzz for this movie started, I don't think anybody cared about Battle Royale at all. I never even heard of it before the buzz for this movie. Which brings up a note. Just today, I went to the mall and went to the bookstore and checked out the movies, and guess what? I found a copy of Battle Royale, which I had never heard of before. So yeah, but weird. It probably just ended up there because of the buzz for this movie. That's the only reason this movie is getting attention. And by the way, just because Hunger Games bears some resemblance to Battle Royale, or at least allegedly it does, it doesn't matter. This whole gladiator concept has been around forever. In fact, that's what this book is based on. It's based on the custom from the Roman Empire, where in punishment for a rebellion, They would select several people, put them in the Coliseum, and fight to the death. That's what this book is based on, and that's what Battle Royale is probably based on. This concept has been around forever. It's been in other movies too. Hunger Games, Battle Royale, Gladiator, Running Man. It's been around forever, and it's not going away anytime soon. And Hunger Games does bring a lot of new stuff to the table, like, you know, like satirizing reality shows and high fashion and all that stuff. So stop whining about that. God, what is with you people? And now let's talk about the other movie this is being compared to, Twilight. Hunger Games is being compared to Twilight. Yeah, okay, admittedly, there is a love triangle in the book and in the movie, but in the movie it's pretty downplayed, and in the book, well, let's play. The love triangle here actually makes sense. There is a reason to be a love triangle. You know, with Katniss, Peeta, and Gale. Katniss and Peeta have a little romance in the arena, but that's not because they want to. It's because they have to. They use it to get sponsors and to get help. Help in the movie. They do it because they have to, not because they want to. Yeah, there's a reason for it. Whereas in the one in Twilight, it's just Bella being a bitch, being a cheating bitch. Yeah, Twilight is crap, okay? And I'm not even going to bother with the rest of the comparisons because there's no point. Hunger Games is nothing like Twilight, and it's far superior to Twilight. There. That's the end of that. Overall, the Hunger Games will love... You guys will love this movie. The fans of the books will love this movie, and those who have not read the books will enjoy it too, because like I said, it explains it very well, and it's very serious. It's very intelligent. It's not really stupid. It's a good overall, it's a good movie. It's very smart, very fun, also pretty intense for a PG-13 movie. So overall, check it out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I'm the Universal Critic. I talk about whatever I want, whenever I want.